Hello, my dear humans. How's it going, everybody? So I want to make this video about a subject that I really have to heart because, as you already know, I work in the aquarium industry. I do aquarium services, and there's a lot of things I come across on a daily basis when I do those services. So, Jesus, is hot. I'm holy. Doing aquarium services, I come across a lot of horror stories, and I see a lot of fish, and a lot of things happen. I'll try to be as jolly as possible while touching upon a very serious subject of basically the most abused fish in the hobby. By abuse, I mean mistreated, misinformation, misbred, and so on and so forth. So without further waiting, let's get into the number one abused fish. Actually, I will do that in a backwards order. The number one right now will be actually the least abused of the five. So the least abused fish of the five that I'll mention is, drum rolls, the goldfish. So the goldfish, I'm sure you knew I was gonna mention the goldfish. And I'm sure most of you started off with a goldfish. Now the goldfish is an amazing fish. It's from the carp family, and they're really nice and happy fish. And a lot of kids get them as their first fish ever. Now, for the past 50 years or so, or even more, I don't know, I wasn't around before that, people tend to put their first fish in a bowl without aeration, without filtration, without heater, not that they need one, but without nothing, zero, just a bowl and a goldfish. And oftentimes, children end up crying after a week or two because Mr. Goldfish has died, and then we flush it and we go get another one, and the cycle continues. Well, why is the goldfish abused? All right, first of all, your regular goldfish, which is the common goldfish, which is the cheapest goldfish on the market, which is 15 cents or 30, wherever you are, those goldfish are actually from the carp family, and they get to about a foot long in the wilderness. Yes, a foot long. Also, the goldfish as a species, they have a lot of slime coat. They produce a lot of slime coat, hence what makes them so resistant to environmental factors, to water chemistry, and so on. But by producing so much slime coat, they also pollute the water more than any other fish out there. And to cherry top that, they're vegetarian, nearly purely vegetarian. And what do vegetarian fish do? They graze all day. So they need to eat all day, and eating all day results in poo. Yes, all they do is poo. So imagine putting a goldfish in a bowl without filtration. Yeah, disgusting. So by this lack of information from pet stores, or just personally not taking the information out there that's available, we end up abusing these poor fish. These poor fish live up to 20 years in decent conditions. They need a lot of filtration, double the capacity of your tank. So if you have a, 50-gallon tank, we'll get a filter that goes to 120 in filtration. They are abused, and I see them in filthy conditions all the time. So this is my number 5 on the list, the goldfish. So the next one, what is the next most abused fish? Let me just see my list. Yes. The next most abused fish is actually a genome. It's the live bearers. What do I mean? Live bearers are guppies, mollies, platies, anything that breeds very fast, that the embryo hatches inside and then a live baby comes out. I'm pretty sure you know what a guppy is. It's a very common fish. Now, why I say they are abused? They're not necessarily abused by the fish keepers, but more the fish breeders. Why do you always buy mollies, platies, and guppies and they die within 3 to 6 months? Because that's a general average. If you get one at the pet shop or wherever, they don't last that long. They're supposed to live up to 3 to 5 years, right? but they never last so long. They end up with spinal deformities. They end up wasting away. Why is that? Well, because they're so easy to breed that they're overbred and they're inbred, and we come up with all these fancy types of them. And how do you come up with a type? You basically crossbreed the same parents to children over and over and over to perpetuate a certain color or a certain pattern or a shape of fins. But by not adding new blood to the genetics, these fish end up being very short-lived and have a bunch of problems. Also, if you're buying them as feeder fish, well, they're riddled with parasites and more disease, so they're very mistreated in the sense of the breeding process of these fish. So if you want to have healthy live bearers, I suggest you get from different locations, different types of strains, and breed them at home yourself. Now, your adults will probably die within 3 to 6 months, but your babies will survive. And if you keep replenishing the gene pool every 6 months or so, you will end up with very healthy guppies, mollies, or platies. And then you can be proud owner of lively fish that can reach up to 5 years. And you will not have all these same genetic issues and worm issues as you would if you just purchase the fish. I'm not saying everyone's doing it, but most of the guppies I bought for clients die within 6 months. So this is number 4 on the list. Now, who's next? Just like the previous one, the next one is not so much one fish as it's a new group of fish they've been doing lately. This group, I call it the balloon fish. You probably noticed there's more and more balloon fish at your local pet stores. Now, this started a long time ago when the carp became a goldfish and the goldfish became red, and then it didn't end just there. No, they developed new types of goldfish. They developed ones with bubbles in the eyes, they developed very round ones, and you know, the goldfish end up rounder and rounder and rounder. Let me explain what happens, why your goldfish end up round like that. Sometimes it's because the spine gets shorter or the spine is totally curved. So what happens when the spine is deformed or short? Well, basically that bubble you see underneath is their organs. They still keep growing and expanding the abdomen. So this has been lately applied to way more than just goldfish. It's been applied to gouramis. I've seen it to Buenos Aires tetras. I've seen obviously to mollies, as if they weren't already like mistreated enough. A lot of fish end up being balloon fish now because we find them so cute and they look like cartoons. Yeah, they do look like cartoons, but in my mind, it's a little bit, not nice because we are kind of breeding very sick fish. Why are balloon fish sick? Well, because all their organs are protruding and compressed. What happens to these fish and why are the cause of premature death in them? Well, they get a lot of bloat. If you don't have proper organs inside, you cannot properly digest. If you cannot properly digest, you end up with bloat. So sometimes they die because they're so constipated, they just can't pass food. Another thing that happens is their swimming bladder. If their swimming bladder is compressed, well, they end up either floating or sinking. That's the second case. And they have trouble just swimming, they have trouble getting to food, they have trouble chewing the food. There's way more problems with these balloon fish, and hence why I don't suggest anyone getting balloon fish. It's really abuse of the fish and the gene. And to cherry top that, when you create a balloon fish, just as in live bearers, to make a certain trait more and more apparent, you have to crossbreed over and over parents. That makes them even more sick. So don't get balloon fish. Don't get them. I know you like goldfish. Goldfish, I'm sort of okay because it's been so long. But you will notice your goldfish, the one that have those the fancy goldfish shapes, they will always end up with some type of bloat or dropsy or swimming bladder issues. It's just a matter of time. But, we like them the way we like them. All right, so the fourth well, actually the second in the list of most abused fish. All right, take a guess. What could it be? It's the betta. Yay, the betta, obviously. Obviously, the betta had to be in this list. Why are they so abused? The same as the goldfish, always in a tiny bowl, no filtration. Plus, they need a heater. They come from tropical environments, Vietnam, Thailand. A betta that doesn't have filtration or at least a heater, it's not good. It's not good because I'm in North America. How am I betta gonna survive without a heater in our -40 in the winter? Not nice. And we think that just because they can survive in a 1 gallon or even less of water, in a cup of water, if they can survive, it doesn't mean that they can thrive. We can survive a lot of things, but we don't want to be naked and afraid in the woods for the rest of our life, right? So bettas need at least a 5 gallon, okay, per betta. Like, you know, if you have one male, keep it in at least a 5 gallon. They need plants to hide. They need not too heavy flow. They need a heater, 76, 78, 80, if you feel like it. But they really need proper care. They don't like plastic decorations. Their fins are very fragile for that. So don't listen to all these advices of people that say, oh, your betta is gonna be fine in a cup. You can keep it forever. Bettas last like 6 months to 2 years in a cup. But they can last up to 6 years in an aquarium in a proper setup. Duh. So please take care of your bettas. As you've probably seen in my previous videos, you can make betta community tanks if you have sociable bettas. So win-win. You like, they like. So who's my number one? If we already did the goldfish, the betta, the live bearers, and the balloons, who's number one most abused according to me? In my experience, all right, it's because I've seen this fish in horror conditions and many times. And my company is like 6-year-old now, so in 6 years, I've seen things. All right, what things have I seen? I've seen Oscars. I've seen what happens to Oscars in the hobby. And let me tell you, it's not glamorous. And I don't know why people choose them to abuse them. But it's kind of sickening because these poor fish, they live in shitty conditions. I don't have any other words for that. I think Oscars are chosen because they're considered tough fish. It's not because they're tough that they can endure crazy stuff. For example, I've seen Oscars in 10 gallons, full-grown Oscars with other fish in 10 gallons. They're the fish that I've seen the most having hole in the head disease. And not necessarily from hexamida, I mean from poor water conditions. I don't know why you people don't wash your Oscar tank. Why no proper filtration? And to cherry top everything, Oscars are the number one fish that people serve live bait, such as like feeder fish, such as goldfish. And that gets them even sicker. So no, do not feed live fish to your Oscars. I know it might look cool or sadistic or whatever's going on. Don't do it. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. Don't do that. If you want to see an Oscar devour something really cool, give it a shrimp, give it krill, give it like a piece of, I don't know, like some good fish that you buy at the market. Give them clams, you know. The options are there. But they also need a bit of vegetables in their diet, so give them good quality pellets. And keep these fish in 50 gallons or more of water because they get to 8-inch. You know, like I've seen them in such filthy conditions, and like it's my number one fish that's most abused. I really want you to start taking care of your Oscars properly and not putting too many of them in a tank. They're very aggressive and territorial, you know. So yes, it's a monster fish, but it also needs a monster tank and a monster filtration and good food. So this being said, I hope you really take my advice into consideration and give a good life to your fish. And I hope I won't have to witness any more crazy stuff when I go to places and see those poor fish. Alright guys, I don't know what's been going on with YouTube, but I think to see my new videos you have to hit that bell button somewhere underneath my video to get the notification. Otherwise you won't see my video whatsoever. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell button to get notification of new videos. Alright guys, I'll see you shortly. Bye!